Friends and honoured guests. My name is Donald McEwen and I'm the chaplain to the university, and it's my pleasure to welcome you today to this graduation ceremony in the University of St Andrews on this exciting day for you. Presiding at today's graduation ceremony is the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dame Sally Mapstone. This ceremony is taking place in the Younger Hall, officially opened in 1929 and reopened in 2022 after extensive refurbishment. The Younger Hall is the university's venue for graduations and most formal ceremonies. In a few moments, the academic procession will enter the hall, and to welcome the academic procession, St Salvator's Chapel Choir will lead us in singing the Gaudiamus. Please do join in. The words can be found in your programme. Now, this is not anticipated, but should the fire alarm sound, please remain seated. The alarm will be silenced, and staff will immediately investigate the cause of the activation. Should an evacuation be necessary, the alarm will then sound continuously, and you will be advised of the need to evacuate. Staff will direct you accordingly. Please follow staff direction and leave the hall by the most appropriate exit. At the end of the graduation ceremony, all our new graduates will join the academic procession, leaving the Younger Hall and walking along North Street and entering St Salvator's Quadrangle through the archway. To supporters, please wait until all our new graduates have left the hall. Ushers will then show you to the nearest exits. Outside, you will be directed to the quad, where you'll be able to join our new graduates. Now, please ensure that your mobile phone is switched off or is at least turned to silent. You are welcome to take pictures and video footage, but please stay seated to do so. To capture this unique moment right now, our official photographer will take a photograph of those graduating today before the ceremony begins.
Good morning. What a glorious day to graduate in, eh? Like the official graduation camera. Brilliant, eh? I can see everybody in this hall, so yeah, let's see your smiles. Are we ready for this? Perfect, here we go. Excellent, come on. That's it, that's better. Fantastic. Enjoy your day, thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoy the graduation ceremony. As you are able, please rise for the Gaudiamus. Oremus. Omnipotens et aeterni Deus, actiones nostras omnes aspirando praeveni, et adjuvando prosequere, ut cuncta nostra operatio, et praesertim hoc quon nuc agredimur opus, a te incipiat, et per te quetum finiatur. Quatenus sanctum nomen tuum glorificemus, et misericordia tua vitam aeternam consequamur, per Iesum Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen.
Please be seated. Good morning, everybody. It is my happy duty as Principal and Vice-Chancellor to welcome you to this summer graduation ceremony at the University of St Andrews. Graduation is the highlight of our academic year. At these ceremonies, students are awarded their degrees and people of distinction are honoured. We orient our academic calendar around these celebrations, and they are a tradition that speaks to the heart of our institutional mission. I am delighted that all of you can share in the joy of today's ceremony, particularly in the light of the challenges we have faced as one community on the path to today's graduation, not least those of a global pandemic. Those of you who are here as graduands are the St Andrews Can Do generation. Can Do, you will remember, was our student-led response to demonstrate what was possible within the constraints of a public health emergency which so limited the fundamental academic and social habits of our university. St Andrews students led the way in the UK in COVID creativity and a focus on the art of the possible at a time when we were all being told what we couldn't and shouldn't do because of the pandemic. Your tutors and teachers and the professional services staff who supported them and you share in your celebrations and the delight of your friends and families at seeing you cross this stage today to be conferred with degrees which each of you has earned fully. They taught you from home, from bedrooms and kitchens, many juggling additional caring responsibilities and trying, like you, to adjust to a suddenly changed world, but always dedicated to doing the very best they could for you. I hope that Can Do is an ethos you will now carry into the wider world. It will forever leave a mark here, a reminder of why it is important always to focus on the art of what is possible and reasonable, and what needs to be done to achieve our shared goals. It is also a pleasure to welcome you to the Younger Hall, a fitting setting for the celebration of your achievements. This well-loved venue, which has been the home of our graduation ceremonies since its initial opening in 1929, has undergone extensive renovation in recent years, completed just in time for last year's summer graduation ceremonies. The refurbishment has revitalised this space for the next century of its existence, whilst ensuring that the entire building is fully accessible for all its users. The building's layout and decorations have been refreshed, but are intrinsically unchanged, and the shape of the ceremonies remains the same. Today's graduands will cross the Younger Hall stage in a style that unites them with the students who, for almost a century, crossed it before them, and of course with the students who crossed our stages in the 5 centuries before that. The broader graduation tradition which we observe today has indeed taken place at St Andrews since the second decade of the 15th century, when the university was founded, and some of the rituals that were established in the 1400s remain an integral part of the ceremony. These rituals honour our history and signify the assumption of each graduande's place within an institution that has done as much as any other to shape our modern world. We are Scotland's first and foremost university, the third oldest in the English-speaking world and one of the 25 oldest still operating. Across 610 years, students and academics have gathered here to build and disseminate knowledge, and their ambition has proven resilient to the challenges mounted against them. The religious and political regimes that have reared and crumbled, the pandemics and wars that have beaten at the doors. Ours is not, however, a story of survival, but of leadership. St Andrews has been at the vanguard of political, cultural and intellectual developments since our inception, and our people have steered the hands of monarchs and parliaments since our earliest days. The importance of our town predates the university's foundation. St Andrews was the ecclesiastical capital of medieval Scotland. The 12th century cathedral, the remnants of which will look upon the graduation procession at the end of this ceremony, was the largest and most revered building of its time, a centre for pilgrimage, home to Scotland's senior bishop, and consecrated upon completion in the presence of Robert the Bruce in 1318. University instruction commenced here in May 1410 when our founder, Bishop Henry Wardlaw, invited a delegation of scholars led by Lawrence of Lindores, a philosopher of renown, to the town. And university status was formalised when Pope Benedict XIII issued papal bulls from Peniscola in August 1413, which were met by great jubilation when carried into the town the following February. Walter Bower, a graduate of this university and the major chronicler of 15th century Scotland, described the foundation of our university in his Latin chronicle of Scottish history, the Scotichronicon, which also recounts the origins of the town and evinces its place at the heart of our cultural imagination. Legend has it that St Rule was born in circa 300 AD and was a bishop in Patras, Greece, when he was visited one evening by an angel who instructed him to take the bones of St Andrew far from the reach of the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great. St Rule brought the relics, which constituted one tooth, one kneecap, one humerus, and St Andrew's right hand, to what Bower describes as the islands situated in the ocean beneath the setting sun. And it is around these relics that the religious and academic communities in St Andrews, which have proven so formative for contemporary Scotland, developed, with St Andrew later becoming the nation's patron saint. The legendary origins of our town and university imbued St Andrews with a literary sensibility that continues to this day, and our community has been a crucible for literary creativity throughout its 600 years. Walter Bower's mantle was assumed by two alumni later in the 15th century, William Dunbar and Gavin Douglas, who graduated in 1479 and 1494 respectively, and who together constitute two of the most significant poetic voices of early modern Scotland. Dunbar and Douglas's use of Scots was foundational for much literature that followed. Dunbar's poetry, ranging from the profoundly devotional to the deliciously bawdy, was among the first items printed in Scotland by the Edinburgh printers Chapman and Miller in 1508. And Douglas was the first translator of Virgil's Latin Aeneid into Scots, completing this in 1513. These were the first in a long line of distinguished writers at our university, including one who would become principal of St Leonard's College, George Buchanan, the most significant Latin poet of his time. Buchanan was, amongst many occupations, a tutor to Mary Queen of Scots and later King James VI of Scotland, And he served as a poet at Mary's Court, in which capacity he wrote many royal poems and masques, including a special commission for the wedding of Mary to Lord Darnley in 1565. Later generations were equally influential. The first major printed anthology of Scottish Latin poetry, Delitiae Poetarum Scotorum, was sponsored by a graduate and early philanthropist of our university, John Scott, in 1637. And while we cannot claim to have educated Robert Burns, who lived degree-less to his end days, St Andrews was the academic home of the Scottish poet Robert Fergusson, who studied here from 1765 to 1768, and whom Burns held in higher esteem than all other writers. Literary life has thrived here in more recent ceremonies, and literary translation in particular was taken up by Willa Muir, an early female graduate of our university in 1910, who, with her husband Edwin, translated works by such luminaries as Hermann Broch and Franz Kafka. The literary culture that the Muirs perpetuated complemented the research activities of our School of English, which today hosts some of the world's foremost literary scholars alongside some of its most celebrated literary practitioners. We are highly distinctive in accommodating poets, dramatists, and creatives, including Professor Don Patterson, OBE, Professor John Burnside, Professor Zinni Harris, and Ms. Dina Nayari, whose combination of creative ingenuity with critical rigor capitalizes upon the uniquely artistic academic culture that has its origins in our foundation. Returning now to today's ceremony and the rituals which connect us to our forebears. The first of these you have already witnessed as St. Salvator's Chapel Choir initiated proceedings with a rendition of the Gaudeamus, and the University Chaplain, the Reverend Dr. Donald McEwen, delivered the opening prayer. As Vice-Chancellor, I preside over these ceremonies and am invested with the authority to award degrees, the presentation of which will immediately follow this introduction. The conferral of awards at bachelor's, master's, and doctoral level will constitute the core of this ceremony. I will confer degrees both on those many students who are present and on those who are unable to attend and who are thus graduated in absentia. As that phrase indicates, these rituals are conducted partly in Latin, following St. Andrew's tradition. I will call upon the deans of the respective faculties and ask them to present each graduand for their award in turn, and I will then confer the degree with Latin phrases, one of which, for example, translates as, "I raise you to the rank of Master of Arts, and to symbolize this, I place upon you this cap." To most, though, I will simply say, "Et super te," meaning, "and upon you too." The precise moment of graduation occurs when the graduate's cap, or birrettum, touches the head of the graduand. This academic cap has been used in every ceremony since December 1696, when it was acquired from a St. Andrew's tailor, and it symbolizes the ascension of our graduands into graduates and their assumption of an equal place within our alumni community. When the conferrals are complete, I shall then make a special presentation of the Principal's Medal, an award for academic and extracurricular endeavour to one of our graduates. The Principal's Medal will today be bestowed upon Isabel Molinari, who has a joint degree from the Schools of Economics and Management. St. Salvator's Chapel Choir will then return to deliver a musical interlude, and we are thankful both to the choir and their director, Claire Innes-Hopkins, for the felicity they bring to this occasion. We will then proceed directly to a highlight of these ceremonies, the presentation of honorary awards, with the conferral of an honorary doctorate upon today's guest of honor, Professor Carmen Reinhardt. To close our ceremony, it is tradition to invite a member of the university to address our new graduates, wish them well as they progress to the next stage of their lives, and offer some final words of inspiration and congratulation. Today's guest speaker is the university's Director of the Careers Centre, Dr. Lorna Dargan. The ceremony will then conclude with the benediction and the graduation procession. At St Andrews, the academics and professional staff who have supported you, our graduates, are immensely proud of your accomplishments. But this ritual does not mark the end of your association with St Andrews. You are joining a vital community of alumni who have positively shaped the world around them for 610 years and who support one another in the present. So while you are graduating, you are not leaving our community, but taking the next step in your St Andrews experience. And it is our sincere hope that you will continue to engage as a St Andrean throughout your life. Decanus Facultatis Artium.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree of Master of Arts General in absentia on Emma Volini.
Eam absentem magistrum artium renuncio.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present for the degree of Master of Arts with honors Francesco Alessandrini Lupia.
Te ad gradum magistri artium promoveo, cuius rei in symbolum super te hoc beretum in pono.
Leila Allen.
Et super te.
Aurelia Bennett.
Et super te.
Eleanor Bowden.
Et super te.
Jenny Bratschvogel.
Et super te.
Hannah Carlton Jepson.
Et super te.
Megan Champney Steele.
Et super te.
Leila Eldada.
Et super te.
Armand Earth.
Et super te.
Henrietta Franks.
Et super te.
Maya Fuchs Bortolami.
Et super te.
Lucy Guthrie.
Et super te.
Lieve Harvik.
Et super te.
Bryn Hansen.
Et super te.
Olivia Howarth.
Et super te.
Millie Henderson.
Et super te.
Amelia Hodge.
Et super te.
Sarah Knight.
Et super te.
Katerina Lehman.
Et super te.
Phoebe Long.
Et super te.
Toby Lowenstein.
Et superte.
Sophie Margulis.
Et superte.
Gusta Matulanita.
Et superte.
Mary McCracken.
Et superte.
Anne Moorhouse.
Et superte.
Angelica O'Donnell.
Et superte.
Leo Palmer.
Et superte.
Thea Reddington.
Et superte.
Maya Sajnani.
Et superte.
Alexia Salem.
Et superte.
Rosie Simon.
Et superte.
Allegra Tenenbaum.
Et superte.
Isabella Webster.
Et superte.
Anne Huang.
Et superte.
Zaina Akil.
Et superte.
Georgia Armour.
Et superte.
Alexandra Dano.
Et superte.
Georgia Doherty.
Et superte.
Andrea Ellman.
Et superte.
Alex Flagg.
Et superte.
Elizabeth Hazlett.
Et superte.
Freya Irving.
Et superte.
Eleanor Milner.
Et superte.
Rebecca West.
Et superte.
Denisa Dobrovodova.
Et superte.
Yuli Yereshova.
Et superte.
Catherine Lohan.
Et superte.
Fan Chi Yang.
Et superte.
Megan Ashley.
Et superte.
Ellie Mackay.
Et superte.
Heloise Pinto.
Et superte.
Isabella Stewart.
Et superte.
Simone Chagnon.
Et superte.
Annabelle David.
Et superte.
Issa Hopper.
Et superte.
Helen Innes.
Et Supete.
Imogen Katcher.
Et Supete.
Sabrina Marconi.
Et Supete.
Caroline Plocky.
Et Supete.
Alma Ryan Schreiber.
Et Supete.
Kana Taniguchi.
Et Supete.
Theo Verden.
Et Supete.
Henry Boland.
Et Supete.
Margaret Brew.
Et Supete.
Grace Connery.
Et Supete.
Agnese Fanizza.
Et Supete.
Catherine Herf.
Et Supete.
Caroline Skillman.
Et Supete.
Claire Slocum.
Et Supete.
Carly Wuthridge.
Et Supete.
Ellie Yu.
Et Supete.
Weichin Chang.
Et Supete.
Jack Wagner.
Et Supete.
Megan Jones.
Et Supete.
Dorothea Jurgensen.
Et Supete.
Min Aziz.
Et Supete.
Isabel Collins.
Et Supete.
Penelope Owen.
Et Supete.
Kieran Smith.
Et Supete.
Lily Angelone.
Et Supete.
Ailey Gilmore.
Et Supete.
Tess Langburns.
Et Supete.
Morgan Anthony.
Et Supete.
Alan Benny.
Et Supete.
Henry Chalmers.
Et Supete.
Mafalda da Fonseca Gaspar.
Et Supete.
Jamie Dott.
Et Supete.
Laura da Silva.
Et Supete.
Alfred Gardner.
Et Supete.
Noah Getz Brzezinski.
Et Superte.
Sam Giddings.
Et Superte.
Ross Gregg.
Et Superte.
Ming Wei Lee.
Et Superte.
Alexander Nicholson.
Et Superte.
Eleanor Cederstrom Paliotto.
Et Superte.
Priyanka Patel.
Et Superte.
Oscar Pringle.
Et Superte.
Harry Rogers.
Et Superte.
Paul Wolfe.
Et Superte.
Kat Koenig.
Et Superte.
Lauren Riley.
Et Superte.
Edward Pomeroy.
Et Superte.
Nish Acharya.
Et Superte.
Tim Berger.
Et Superte.
Mikhail bin Mohammed Roshamshul Su Kanain.
Et Superte.
Hubert Burke.
Et Superte.
Junshu Duan.
Et Superte.
Gage Fox.
Et Superte.
Poppy Freeman.
Et Superte.
Gleb Kalinin.
Et Superte.
Joseph Kelly.
Et Superte.
Kylie Kaniriam.
Et Superte.
Lily Magni.
Et Superte.
Beckett McDowell.
Et Superte.
Futson Nyo.
Et Superte.
Adil Orazguliev.
Et Superte.
Otilia Palia.
Et Superte.
Kaylee Patterson.
Et Superte.
Shifan Wu.
Et Superte.
Giancarlo Prignone.
Et Superte.
Matthew Burgoyne.
Et Superte.
Sophia Kasuli.
Et Superte.
Wenchuan Chen.
Et Superte.
Sarah Duckworth.
Et Supete.
Jakub Hotjek.
Et Supete.
Anthony Kowalski.
Et Supete.
Han Xiao Long.
Et Supete.
Cole McCaskill.
Et Supete.
Aviraj Matre.
Et Supete.
Sarah Mahmoud.
Et Supete.
Isabel Molinari.
Et Supete.
Anna Moretti.
Et Supete.
Charles Myron.
Et Supete.
Kira Ziebrecht.
Et Supete.
Charlie Tilkemeyer.
Et Supete.
Gauri Vishwanathan.
Et Supete.
Jack Whitler.
Et Supete.
Eli Thayer.
Et Supete.
Olivia Groom.
Et Supete.
Rudy Bohm Kennedy.
Et Supete.
Trilin Tai.
Et Supete.
Oriane Castera.
Et Supete.
Sofia Lages Balestrin de Andrade.
Et Supete.
Pauline Longan.
Et Supete.
Rahul Prakash.
Et Supete.
Charlotte Service.
Et Supete.
Junie Wee.
Et Supete.
Thomas Bunting.
Et Supete.
Libby Reagan.
Et Supete.
Ben Saunders.
Et Supete.
Tess Campbell.
Et Supete.
Avery Reynolds.
Et Supete.
Jason Kwok.
Et Supete.
Susanna Cohn.
Et Supete.
Lewis Gladwin.
Et Supete.
Ross Hutton.
Et Supete.
Winkui Lee.
Et Supete.
Oliver Martin.
Et superte.
Harrison Raddock.
Et superte.
Aishat Alan Shahin.
Et superte.
Ollie Grimes.
Et superte.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree in absentia on Luca Ashad, Marifa Contreras, Ben Cox, Molly Finn, Dae Ho Kwon, Bo Long Song, Clover Watson Green.
Eos absentes magistros artium renuncio.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the postgraduate diploma in absentia on Carsten Freisberg.
Eum absentem diplomatum renuncio.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present for the degree of Master of Letters, Chi Wen Tu.
Te ad gradum magistri literarum promovio, cuius rei in symbolum superte hoc beretum impono.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree in absentia on Hannah Page.
Eam absentem magistrum literarum renuncio.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree of Master of Science in absentia on Omar Abeldassa Yi Chao Wang.
Eos absentes magistros scientiae renuncio.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Building a New University, a study of the buildings and related interiors at the University of St. Andrews, circa 1890 to 1914, Jessica Burge.
Te ad gradum doctoris philosophiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum superte hoc beretum impono. Many congratulations, Jessica. Decanus Facultatis Scientiae.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Bachelor of Science General, William Pelaganus.
Te ad gradum baccalaureae scientiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum superte hoc beretum impono.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours, Priyanshu Agarwal.
Te ad gradum baccalaureae scientiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum superte hoc beretum impono.
Ben Avery.
Et superte.
Kiara Beaton.
Et superte.
Cara Brady.
Et superte.
Luca Carmignani.
Et superte.
Max Caven.
Et superte.
Kim Crawford.
Et superte.
Zuye Fong.
Et superte.
Aman Giwala.
Et superte.
Callum Gurley.
Et superte.
Alex Harrigy.
Et superte.
Emma Hudson.
Et Superte.
Bernard Lee.
Et Superte.
Alexander Lindsay.
Et Superte.
Andrew Longworth.
Et Superte.
Matthew Moran.
Et Superte.
Elisa Muller.
Et Superte.
Hunter Nascimento.
Et Superte.
Beatrice Ninham.
Et Superte.
Lauren Omiki.
Et Superte.
Luke Player.
Et Superte.
Alexander Rand.
Et Superte.
Alexander Reed.
Et Superte.
Anna Sabudzi.
Et Superte.
Efi Sansom.
Et Superte.
Kirsty Tate.
Et Superte.
Isaac Turner.
Et Superte.
Ben Wilson.
Et Superte.
Nolan Aylward.
Et Superte.
AJ Werenberg.
Et Superte.
Nitant Agarwal.
Et Superte.
Aryan Ahuja.
Et Superte.
Isabella Baxter.
Et Superte.
Oliver Everson.
Et Superte.
Joy Fraser.
Et Superte.
Christian Gould.
Et Superte.
Yvette Lee.
Et Superte.
Paul Saxick.
Et Superte.
Jamie Scott.
Et Superte.
Oisa Apeji.
Et Superte.
Callum Clark.
Et Superte.
Aoife Doyle.
Et Superte.
Ollie Fair.
Et Superte.
Borbella Noig.
Et Superte.
Karina Patel.
Et Supete.
Casey Emmerich.
Et Supete.
Varun Bhattacharya.
Et Supete.
Candida Solsley.
Et Supete.
Jackson Sides.
Et Supete.
Sharifa Shara Syed Mohammed Fazila.
Et Supete.
Lucas Crow.
Et Supete.
Emily Dow.
Et Supete.
Dylan Fernandez.
Et Supete.
John Florsheimer.
Et Supete.
Leon Hepp.
Et Supete.
John Lavelle.
Et Supete.
Kushun Lee.
Et Supete.
Harry Martin.
Et Supete.
Leah McGibbon.
Et Supete.
Stephen Shing.
Et Supete.
Mingqing Song.
Et Supete.
Jay Tyagi.
Et Supete.
Robert Viazzoli.
Et Supete.
Shu Wong.
Et Supete.
Brody Wells.
Et Supete.
Adrian Watmore.
Et Supete.
Alan Jong.
Et Supete.
Sam Henderson.
Et Supete.
Cameron Russell.
Et Supete.
John Lemasters.
Et Supete.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree in absentia on Athena Buchan.
Eam absentem baccalaureum scientiae renuncio. Congratulations to all our graduates. I would now like to introduce the Principal's Medal. This award was inaugurated 14 years ago with a gift from 3 anonymous donors and is supported by Eade and Ravenscroft, believed to be the oldest firm of tailors and robe makers in the world. The award of the Principal's Medal recognises students who display exceptional endeavour and achievement during their time at St Andrews. The awards are open to final year undergraduates and postgraduates in any discipline, and the achievements celebrated are both academic and extracurricular. For this academic year, the Principal's Medal is being awarded to 2 truly outstanding students. Today, we recognise Isabel Molinari, who has just received the degree of Master of Arts of Economics and Management with honours. Isabel's nomination references her formidable intellectual accomplishments. She has repeatedly made the Dean's List for outstanding academic achievement, and the quality of her work is reflected in the inclusion of one of her essays in the university's student-run Arts and Divinity Journal. Isabel's excellence in the classroom is also replicated in professional environments. She possesses, to quote her nominator, a capacity to translate academic ability into practical value, which is extremely rare and something that few academics are able to achieve successfully. This ability is demonstrated through her work as one of the longest-serving board members of the non-profit student-run consultancy business Playfair, for which she served as head of consultancy this academic year. While working with Playfair, Isabel managed 50% of the group's consultancy projects. Importantly, these projects have directly benefited the wider community of St Andrews by providing consultancy services to local organisations on a pro bono basis. Isabel also played an instrumental role in Playfair's recovery following the global pandemic, during which much of the group's organisational memory and knowledge, like that of many student societies, was lost. She successfully led the recruitment and induction of more than 20 new student consultants, enabling Playfair to provide students with crucial hands-on real-world experience in consultancy. Isabel therefore played a pivotal role in helping Playfair to grow from having no clients in the aftermath of the pandemic to successfully completing 10 projects over the course of the current year. Such attainments are laudable in their own right, but they dazzle when contextualised by the breadth of Isabel's other commitments to our university, particularly her commitment to fostering a safe and inclusive environment for all students. Over the past 2 academic years, Isabel has served as Vice President of Mermaids, a subcommittee of the St Andrews Students' Association dedicated to theatre and performance. During her time in this role, she has led on work to improve the association's policies on sexual misconduct and on well-being. Isabel produced the first Students' Association subcommittee policy on sexual misconduct, designed to help students navigate their options in difficult circumstances, as well as to aid committee members in handling allegations of misconduct. This policy has now been shared beyond Mermaids to our other Students' Association subcommittees. Isabel has also led on the introduction of well-being planning documents for all Mermaids production teams, which provide important information on how to support cast and crew well-being throughout productions. These examples of Isabel's incredible work throughout her time at the university demonstrate the extent of her unfailing dedication to the welfare and well-being of her fellow students. Isabel models excellence whilst embodying a generous, inclusive, and passionate outlook that is an inspiration to her peers and tutors alike. Isabel, in recognition of your many accomplishments, both academically and personally, during your time as an undergraduate, it gives me great pleasure to bestow upon you the Principal's Medal. Please come up. I call upon Professor Alan Sutherland of the School of Economics and Finance.
Vice-Chancellor, it is my privilege to present for the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, Professor Carmen Reinhardt. Carmen Reinhardt is the Minos A. Zombanankis Professor of the International Financial System at Harvard Kennedy School, and from 2020 until 2022, she was a Senior Vice President and Chief Economist of the World Bank Group. Professor Reinhardt is a macroeconomist whose career spans leading positions in academic research, major financial institutions, and national and international policy organizations. She has made outstanding contributions to our understanding of international capital flows, debt crises, financial contagion, financial regulation, monetary policy, and exchange rate policy. Professor Reinhardt is originally from Cuba. She moved to the United States in the mid-1960s, where she completed her education. She is a graduate of Columbia University, New York, where she completed her PhD under the supervision of Nobel laureate Professor Robert Mundell. In between degrees, Professor Reinhardt was Chief Economist and Vice President of the investment bank Bear Stearns, and in 1988, after completing her PhD, she moved to the International Monetary Fund, where she rose to the position of Senior Policy Advisor and Deputy Director of the Research Department. In 2000, Professor Reinhardt returned to academic research, first as Professor of Public Policy and Economics at the University of Maryland, then to the Peterson Institute for International Economics in Washington, and in 2012, she took up her present position at the Harvard Kennedy School. Professor Reinhardt is the winner of the King of Spain Prize and the Adam Smith Award, amongst others. Now, speaking of Adam Smith, it is particularly appropriate that we should be celebrating the work of an eminent economist in this year, the 300th anniversary of Smith's birth. One of Smith's most important contributions was the understanding that the wealth of nations depends on productive capacity rather than acquisition of wealth through financial flows from abroad. Smith's work led to an emphasis on private enterprise, free trade, and free capital flows. Now, in contrast, Professor Reinhardt's work demonstrates that while wealth accumulation via international capital flows may not be a sensible focus of economic policy, as Smith demonstrated, it is not possible to ignore the impact of capital flows in international financial markets on the macroeconomy. Indeed, far from being benign and self-regulating, financial markets and capital flows can be a significant source of economic shocks and repeated crises. Professor Reinhardt has published widely on these topics in leading economics journals, but her most widely known work is her best-selling and award-winning book, This Time is Different: 8 Centuries of Financial Folly, which documents the remarkable similarities between financial crises across the world and across time. Vice-Chancellor, in recognition of her major contributions to economics on a global scale, I invite you to confer the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa on Carmen Reinhardt.
Te ad gradum doctoris legum promovio. I'm sorry, I'll start again. Te ad gradum doctoris legum honoris causa promovio, cuius rei in symbolum super te hoc beretum impono. Many congratulations.
It is a sincere and great pleasure and honor to be here with all of you and to have received this award from such a prestigious university. I would also like to add my personal note that having been since childhood a big fan of Benjamin Franklin, it meant a great deal to me that he received the very same honorary degree in the mid-18th century. I would like to also add that since yesterday I've been treating to the utmost hospitality and can only conclude by saying that it's been a special pleasure to share this special moment for me with this special moment for all of you graduates. So I wish you the most. I have a slight bias for those of you that are economists, of course, but I wish you the best as you go forward, having been prepared at this wonderful institution. And so let's have a great day. We certainly have had the perfect weather for it. Thank you so, so much.
I call upon Dr. Lorna Dargan, Director of the Careers Centre.
Vice-Chancellor, special guests, colleagues and graduates, my most sincere congratulations to you all on this special day. Graduation is one of the highlights of our community's year when we come together to celebrate your achievements with colleagues, friends and loved ones. Breathe a sigh of relief that you managed to make it across the stage without falling over and watch you take your next steps out into the world. I would like to extend our appreciation to our graduates who have worked so hard and have contributed so much to the vibrancy of our community, and to your family, friends and supporters who have done so much to keep you going, offer you comfort and cheer you on from the sidelines. Thank you. It falls on me to say a few words to send you on your way, and not surprisingly, as your Director of Careers, I would like to share a few thoughts on career planning. The very first thing I would like to say is don't panic. And I say that as much to the parents and supporters in the room as to our graduates. Whether you have a plan in mind, a job or further study secured, or are sat there right now feeling totally lost, we know from over 600 years of experience that you will be fine. Your time with us has equipped you beautifully for what comes next, and this is not just about all of the amazing things that you have learned while you've been with us, but the experiences that you've had with us along the way. One of my current favourite career theories, planned happenstance, is based in chaos theory, which seems apt for the times in which we live. This theory suggests that career success is not about having a rigid plan and doggedly sticking to it, but adopting behaviours that help you navigate the unexpected. So being curious, proactive, optimistic, flexible, and brave. These are qualities that I know you have practiced in abundance during your time with us. Falling down the rabbit hole of your reading lists to pursue what makes you curious, finding the will to write your essays when you've been exhausted and no page in human history has ever looked more blank, flexing from in-person study to life online and back again, and taking a chance that this small university perched on the edge of the North Sea would give you everything you need to fulfill your ambitions, whatever they may be. Ask any adult in this room with a career and they will tell you that careers are rarely neat and linear. And it would be a dull world indeed if we could see the exact shape of our lives at the outset and feel obliged to simply play it out. So I encourage you to be open to changing course, to allow yourself to be challenged, to be surprised, and to perhaps end up far from where you might have expected. And as you sit here amongst your friends and family, I would also like to remind you that your career is just one part of who you are going to be. Your lives are going to be much bigger than what you do to earn a living. You are going to be family, friends, and spouses, citizens and activists, globetrotters, creatives, and hobbyists, all of which will be vital and meaningful elements of the lives that you build for yourselves, and very often the things that will give you the greatest joy. But for now, for today, take a moment to enjoy your new roles in life, graduates of the University of St Andrews and lifelong members of our global family. We could not be more proud of everything you have accomplished. Congratulations, class of 2023.
Please stand for the benediction.
Oremus. Gratia Domini nostri Iesu Christi, et caritas Dei, et communicatio Spiritus Sancti sit cum omnibus nobis, in saecula saeculorum. Amen.